Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and esteemed speakers. Welcome to our exciting panel discussion. As we gather here in COP16, we recognize the pressing challenges our world faces. And the need for scientific talent has never been more critical. We are here today to discuss about scientific talent development and the urgent need to spread awareness about sustainability, skills in water and agriculture. Joining me today, Dr. Budur Rayes is the Vice President of the Human Capability Development Program, one of the Saudi Arabia Vision 2030 realization programs. She received her PhD from Royal Holloway, University of London in artificial intelligence. We are also honored to have with us a pioneer entrepreneur. Narayan is a founder at EF Polymer. He will share with us his inspiring journey of developing sustainable solutions for water conservation in agriculture. And last but not least, definitely Dr. Abrar Chowdhury, Oxford alumni, and he has experience 25 years in technology, consulting, and research. And also he works with the UNDP for funding climate resilience projects, and also with Oxford in the same issues regarding climate resilience. So I will start by a general question, discussing the current state of scientific education and training in the water and agriculture sectors in addressing global sustainability challenges. We could start with Dr. Chowdhury.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Maha. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. I think one of the big questions that I'm always asked by students is that, how do we get into sustainability? How do we get into this green transition? What are the opportunities here? And so it's really important when we think about the scientific talent that we understand what do we actually mean by this. There are lots of general definitions out there, but I'm going to pick one definition from United Nations Industrial Development Organization that says that green skills are knowledge, ability, values, attitudes needed to live in a sustainable and resource-efficient world. So in other words, what we're really trying to say is that, how do we get the right skills to have a low-emission, resilient planet, that's good for the people, for the planet, for our society. And the big question is that, of course, when we look at skills, we always think about scientific skills, which are extremely important. But when you look at the impacts that sustainability or climate has, we see that we don't just need scientific skills, but we also have to think about what are the impacts of those challenges. So, for example, when we have floods, it actually impacts people, so we have to build their capacity. When we have droughts, it actually impacts hunger, so we have to think about hunger, and we have to think about how we have to build capacity for those people. But even businesses are impacted by sustainability impacts. So, there is this information that about almost, because of climate change, businesses will have almost 25 trillion losses just in their supply chains. So the good news is that when we talk about skills, it is becoming a very interdisciplinary skills. It's not just scientific skills. And what we're seeing right now is like there's a LinkedIn survey that went out, and why it's important is that LinkedIn right now has almost 900 million people on their platform. And what they came back with was that almost 12% of employees or people on their platform actually have a green skill. So that's a massive, even though we don't recognize that we're working in the green field, but the skills are already there. But what's important is that when we look at the job requirements, almost 20% or 22% of skills are needed. So that actually shows us that there's a gap between the skills that are needed, the green skills that are needed, and the green skills that we require right now. When we look at ILO, it estimates that almost 100 million jobs will be required by 2030 for the green transition. So we can see that there's a massive, massive opportunity to upskill ourselves in this green technologies. And then maybe one kind of final point that I wanted to make is this whole question. When students come to me, they'll say, you know what, I'm an engineer, I'm an architect, I'm an accountant, I want to transition into sustainability. How do I do this? I don't have the right skill. But when you look at the jobs, you start to see that actually they intersect. So again, based on the survey that came out from LinkedIn, which is really important because it has such a big database, the top green skill job was not scientific, but was on climate action. You know, the next job was looking at emission accounting. The next job after that was looking at how do we price, how do we measure impact. So you start to recognize that actually these are the skills you already have. So how do you start to bring these green skills into your existing skills rather than creating this new typology of skill? We need lots more in entrepreneurship as well. So when we look at the state of sustainability, we see that actually we can use our existing skills, but actually just need to add more green skills in it. Rather than having educational degrees, we can start to develop the right skills, and I think those are the sort of jobs that are actually needed in the market.
Okay, so maybe we could move to Mr. Narayan. If you could tell us about the role of entrepreneurship and research and innovation in developing sustainable solution.
Yeah, so thank you, Maha. So the first thing I think I want to say, what is the sustainability? When we talk about sustainability, what is the mean of the sustainability? So in my opinion, sustainability means whatever the innovation or whatever the things we are developing, that not bring another problem in the future. So for example, if I develop some solution, I think currently there is so many entrepreneurs, so many solutions we are bringing through the technology to solve the problem. So if I give example, for example, water, if the water shortage problem happening, there is so many solution is coming. For example, chemical polymers, maybe so many innovation is coming to solve this problem. But those solutions can solve this problem temporary, but in the future, the solution itself become the problem. So that is not a sustainable solution. So entrepreneur can bring this kind of innovation who can really make the sustainable, not only in the saying, in the real impact. So as if I say like about EF polymer, when we see this water problem, how we are solving, we are recycling the bio-waste, like which is another problem. If you talk about like orange peel, banana peel, which is every year generating like 100 million, 200 million ton of the waste. And what we are doing, we are just burning or using for landfill. This is creating the CO2 emission, and that's why our climate is changing. So we thought if we can recycle this bio-waste and convert into something organic, sustainable solution, which can solve the water problem, I think that kind of circular innovation is very good. So that's how I think this kind of sustainable innovation, which is very helpful, so not only solving the today's problem, but also seeing the future impact, not only the human impact. We need to look about the animal, environment, microorganism, all this big impact, that is the come in the sustainability. And when it's come entrepreneurship, I think that is the key to bring any small solution from outside of the lab to make the impact in the global level. So I think entrepreneurship can really helpful for sustainability. And as entrepreneur, you can take risk. When many people come for innovation, sustainability, I think entrepreneurship can help to boost this solution from lab to the real ground.
Nice. Wonderful and very insightful. I want to take this from a different angle, from an AI expert. So, Dr. Budur, if you could tell us how can artificial intelligence enable the development of sustainable skills to effectively address workforce challenges?
Thank you, Dr. Maha. So before I go deeply to AI, I would like to shed a light on the Human Capability Development Program. So the Human Capability Development Program is one of the Vision 2030 program. The aim of this program is to prepare citizens to become globally competitive by instilling value, developing basic and future skills, and enhancing knowledge. So, and we work from early childhood to lifelong learning. So we have 3 pillars. One of them is developing a resilient and a strong base education, which is related to K-12. And then we go to preparing the labor market for a future, globally and locally. And the third one is providing a lifelong learning opportunity. And when we talk, maybe I'll shed a light on what Dr. Abrar say about skills. So skills is very important. And when we talk about sustainability and AI, we could focus on them. So the basic skills, when we talk about the scope of the human capability development, we talk about numeracy, literacy, and digital skills. And the future skills here where we focus, which is global, we talk about high order thinking skills, which is related to problem solving, critical thinking, and also about social and emotional skills, which is related to teamwork, leadership, adaptability. And the third one is a practical and skills and physical skills, which we talk about financial literacy and fitness and well-being. And this combination of skills are all related to sustainability. So sustainability is what we define it as a life or a way of life. So we took all this skill set and we embedded on them how people think about sustainability, how to take the climate challenges, how they solve them with using critical thinking, problem solving, and all that skills. And today even we have a dialogue. In the morning we call it capability dialogue. We have esteemed panelists from private sector, international organization, and we have this conversation. Do we need a specific skills for sustainability, or do we use the skills that we have now, which is the high order thinking skills, the emotional skills, and we use them for sustainability? And I think we all agree then that these collection or set of skills are what we need for preparing citizens to become globally sustainable future.
Well, thank you, and definitely very insightful. So I'm going to take this from another different angle, from an educational point of view. Dr. Abrar, so could you tell us about the importance of interdisciplinary approaches in education, integrating science with social sciences and art?
Absolutely, and I'd love to pick on this point that often when we think about these sustainability challenges, we have to recognize that these are multidisciplinary. You need science definitely to get the right solutions, but as we're learning, you also need higher level skills. You need to understand that emotional intelligence, but you also need leadership skills, because someone needs to actually lead on this transition. When we talk about sustainability, what we're saying is that something different is going to happen in your organization. The business as usual has to shift. We are going to try and develop new processes, and a lot of that has to do with change management. So that's why the terminology of just transition, of sustainable leadership, those elements start to come in. And what we're seeing and what we find really exciting right now is this role of social sciences and arts and humanities now coming in this space. As I was mentioning, now you don't need singular skills. I speak many scientists within the university, and what they really lack is how do we develop the right leadership skills or the right communication skills to communicate our science? So you certainly start to see that different disciplines are coming together. And this is what's really happening. At the business school, we have people coming into finance, and they understand finance very well. But then it's all about, okay, how do we develop the right skills for you so you understand how do you shift finance to sustainable finance? So it's not about understanding sustainable finance, it's about how do we shift the financial system? And those are different skills. So we see more and more social science coming in this space, and It's about different disciplines to work together. But I think often what we overlook, and I think it's such an important area, is the arts and the humanities. And the reason why I say humanities is because we say, okay, that's has nothing to do with sustainability. But when we look at these phrases, right? Again, just transition. What do we mean by just transition? There's a very historical connotation. Who is this just for? What has happened in history before than when these transitions happened? We're not the first ones in this transition. We might be looking at sustainability, but many transitions have happened. Countries have gone from low economy or low income to middle income countries, to high income countries. And a transition happened within those countries. So then we have to think about, okay, how are we taking these communities with us? When we talk about sustainability right now, if you look at just the numbers, we see that although trillions of dollars of investments are expected in, let's say, in the energy or in the water, in the agriculture sector, but less than 1% will actually go into the African continent. So then you need historians that go in and study, okay, how do we unpack this meaning of just transition? Who is this just transition for? What does that collective future look like? What are collective goals? And that's not just a scientific challenge. It's where we bring humanities together. It's where we bring social scientists together. It's where we bring business leaders together and say, you have to be a brave leader because someone has to make this transition. And maybe one more example, I'll share that in Oxford, we've started this new program called the Oxford Ministry of the Future. And the reason we wanted to bring this program together is because we started to bring in a lot of writers, a lot of science fiction writers, because we felt that when we all read science fiction, why we find science fiction very interesting is because it shows a future that's very close to us. It's something that's not unbelievable. It's like, oh, we'll have flying cars, or we'll have a world where we'll have lots of water. We already have flying cars. We have drones. We have those technologies. So by bringing those speakers from humanities together to sit with scientists, we try to create a narrative, we try to create a world that we can all imagine. What would the world look like in 5 years or 10 years in time? How about we experience it right now? So having those multidisciplinary conversation is what is allowing us to understand what does this word sustainability actually translate into. So I'll pause here, but thank you for asking that question.
Definitely love the idea of Ministry of the Future. So it's really interesting. But we will move to Mr. Narayan, discussing on policies needed to support scientific talent development and sustainability initiatives.
Yes, so I think the most important when any scientific thing come out from the lab, I think the first important thing is the regulation to prove those kind of innovation. So if I give example, for example, the agriculture, like someone developed the product who is for the agriculture, and this is something new technology. When you look the guideline, the existing guideline, there is a new innovation, but in existing guideline, there is no category for this new innovation. So when you're saying, oh, we're bringing the sustainable product, but if you does not have this category or does not have the regulation for this kind of new product, then this product or technology will be still only in the lab side. So the first important thing is maybe from government side or from the policymaker side, when this new innovation is coming, how they can give the flexibility to register, or when this coming for the new country. For example, if some innovation happen in the another world, another part of different country, how they can give the flexibility when this entering into this new market. So the flexibility in the policy for startup or for innovation is very important. That is the one key thing. The second thing, when it's come about the policy, so maybe in upper side there is so many policy we make, but it's this policy really going into the ground or not? That how we evaluate, this is very important. So when we say, okay, we organize a COP16 and we want to change the society and we want to create impact, okay, 100 million tons of the CO2 we want to reduce. In the top policy, already execution is happened. But in the real ground, this is happening or not, how we evaluate this process, that is very important, and that need to be come into the policy. Okay, when the new innovation is coming, how we tracking in the real world. So that kind of policy also we need to include. And the third thing which is important when it's come for the scientific innovation, I think the support for the proof of concept in the various angle, because many times the innovation after the initial grant, they cannot scale. So for the scalability, how the government can support this innovation, so they can prove, and those kind of support, it's very important for the university or maybe startup to scale their solution. If those kind of like government regulation flexibility and actual execution on the ground is happening or not, how we evaluating those performance. And third thing is like initial financial support for this community. That is very important for like policy side we need to consider.
Definitely, totally agree with you. So, Dr. Budur, if you could share with us about the Human Capability Development Program and what key skills does it focus on, if you have like some specific programs you're promoting.
Yes. So I'll answer then two questions. So the first one is related to what are the initiatives that we have in the human capabilities and how we follow up the policies to make sure that these initiatives are on the ground and they action. So I'll take it into three layers. I want to make sure that we have a proper multidisciplinary curriculum related to industry, where there we have initiative where we develop some modules with the industry, and even though we bring the industry to provide this curriculum. This is the first one. The other one is related to the faculty, which is I'm talking about the higher education. Do they have the policies that can open their startups and they test their innovation and sustainability innovation? Yes, we have initiatives related to that. And then we have the vocational. It's not about higher education, even the vocational. We bring the industry with them. So we expand some vocational training and we combine them with a strategic partnership with the industry like Aqua Power, Aramco, and etc. So this is regarding for universities and vocational and how they provide their curriculum. We come to the students itself, how we enhance the sustainability skills and we make sure it's related to the job market. So we mandated a 6-month mandatory internship for students, so they go on the ground and they test their even multidisciplinary or any major they studied. Also, we incentivize them to go and even work for summer jobs or private or part-time jobs, and we provide them with a career coaching and career development in order to make them related to the labor market again. And also, we have some courses related to even entrepreneurship. So we bring entrepreneurship not like an isolated course. We partner them with the majors. So we have entrepreneurship for finance, entrepreneurship for education, edtech, fintech, and etc. So this are the main goals of the higher education and vocational, how we relate them to the labor market. Cross-cutting, in order to understand what is needed by the labor market, we have an initiative called Demand and Supply Predicted Unit or Prediction Unit that predict what is needed for the labor market, and it's direct the other initiatives that I just talked about in order to make them related to the labor market. And plus on that, we talk about also we work in the program as for lifelong learning. So we have micro and nano degrees to teach also anything related to subject needed by the labor market. We have also skill accelerators to reskill and upskill people for any skills. One of them, of course, it's sustainability. And not last or not least, about the AI. So the AI is a cross-cutting also. So there is AI solution to teach people how or make them specialized for different skills or specifically for certain skills. And there is AI solution also to figure the gaps, what is needed by skills. And when we come to the solution related to sustainability, that are a lot. So there is AI solution for developing sustainable products. There are solution for reducing the consumption of energy. There are solutions from AI that provide greener environment and innovation. So AI, I think it's cross-cutting all the solution and the initiatives we have, yeah.
Great efforts, definitely, and thank you for your insightful contribution. So I'll move to the role of partnership. How do you promote partnership between the industry and academia in talent development? So we could, Dr. Chaudhry, if you could share with us, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really important that we think of this partnership as a two-way learning process. So of course, you know, as Dr. Badur was talking about, there's so much requirement for students to learn and get experience in the industry. But it's also about talent from the industry to actually come into academia as well. So how do we create those partnerships where we allow this talent to move both ways? Like when we look at research beyond the students, there's so much scientific talent. People are working on, you know, many very high-level interesting solutions, but they don't have real-life experience. So we think about, like, you know, this industry secondment, like we send our researchers to the industry because the challenge is that they don't necessarily want to move permanently to the industry. And then we want them to come back. Same with the industry, that, you know, how do we get industry professionals to come and work? So for example, in Oxford, we have this program called the Open Program, which is for policymakers. That actually policymakers can have a question, spend time with academia, you know, answer that question. In the same way, we can have researchers that are embedded with policymakers. Another example that I think is really important is that when we look at sustainability, remember that many businesses, private sector, are facing similar issues. It's not that those issues are unique to each industry. It may be specialized, but we're all asking the same question. How do we move? How do we reduce our emissions? You know, how do we secure our supply chain? So we think that bringing this collective businesses together can be an important initiative. So one of the initiatives that we've thought about is called the future of marketing, future of sustainability, future of finance, where we'll bring large businesses, maybe 5, 10 businesses, to come together and open their data for researchers, saying, okay, here is our data. This is the same problem we're facing. Can we build a program together so we can answer these questions together? What that requires, really, and this is where I think partnerships and academia can play a role, is for businesses to think that, okay, this is not about protection. It's not that, okay, if I work with another similar organization, I'm actually now going to lose my competitive advantage. But actually knowing that if we solve these sustainability challenges, we will all benefit. The businesses will benefit, the country will benefit, the society will benefit. So it's about changing our thinking to go from individual organizations to collective organization. And we're seeing more and more of those collaborative partnerships happen. And then maybe finally, I think, like one of the modules that we're running in the business school is that we'll go to companies and we'll say, you know, what are your big challenges? What are the problems that you cannot solve? What are your systemic challenges in, let's say, sustainability space? You know, bring those challenges to us. We will create a program around you so we can bring talented students to solve those big challenges. So that students don't feel that, okay, we're learning or we're focusing on a problem that no one cares about. There's agency on the other side. So for the businesses, we open up our talent. We open up our students. For the students, they can actually then say, actually, here's a tick mark. I worked on these sustainability challenges. I've developed these 5 sustainability skills that they can now actually go out and get employment for. So it's about creating those win-win situations between businesses and academia, and I think that partnership is absolutely necessary if you want to solve these big problems. We can't do this alone.
Definitely. So getting back to Dr. Badur, if you could share with us some critical success factors for partnership between industry and academia.
I will echo Dr. Abrar, and I think I shed light some of them. So the success factor is bringing industry to university and bringing the student to industry. So as Dr. Abrar said, also another factor about research. I think research is an important factor in any university. They can benefit from that because really the benefit from research and the value is to really solve the real problems, and sustainability is one of the challenges we see now, and the greener economy and everything. So one of the initiatives that the program has is that we have a collaboration between universities and the industry to match or co-match the fund of some of the projects that for universities. So in order to make sure that they really the university is solving a real-time challenging rather than just